Hello, human peoples. You're listening to the podcast network of Gamefully Unemployed. To support us and gain access to great exclusive podcasts like Fox Mulder is a Maniac, Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, Star Trek The Next Futurama, and our latest show, Spiel Boys, head over to patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. We do game streaming, movie nights with our patrons every Friday night, and you can even commission your own podcast about anything you want. Literally anything, within reason, and we have to do it. You are quite frankly out of excuses not to go visit patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's patreon.com/GAMEFULLY unemployed, which is spelled like it sounds. Ugh. The spiders.
Okay.
Into the spiders.
Worst way. Yeah. Worst way to open a podcast. Spiders.
Spiders, they're everywhere. There's so many spiders.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, everyone.
My name is David Bell.
My name is Tom Ryman.
And we just watched Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Mm-hmm.
It's like universe. Imagine if the universe was spiders.
Yeah, well, I don't need to imagine it. That's the truth. That's what Galileo discovered. That's why he was excommunicated.
All right. He was like, guys,
told the truth.
All spiders.
It's all spiders. Look, you look through a telescope, spiders.
We got to get out of here,
all
guys.
You see. So that's why, the famous quote, that's one small step for man, one giant leap for, oh shit, spiders.
Can't stop me now!
You can't run forever, kid!
I can't lose one more friend.
That isn't what we talked about!
You knew? I had no idea what you're doing!
Everyone keeps telling me how my story is supposed to go. Nah, I'm gonna do my own thing.
All stations, stop Spider-Man!
Well,
my helmet is full of spiders. It's kind of Apollo 18, yeah.
That's why we never went back. Everybody watched the documentary Apollo 18.
Yeah, the docudrama Apollo 18.
Yeah.
Why we never went back to the moon.
Yeah. We're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the newest Miles Morales Spider-Man. This is a sequel to Into the Spider-Verse.
Mm-hmm.
This is, what did you, this is, of course, doing very well. Very well reviewed.
Yeah, I mean the first one, was incredible. Got all these, did super well. Got all these great reviews. Won the Oscar, and this is It's already been 5 years since that movie.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
That's wild.
Yeah, I hate that. I hate that fact.
Time.
Yeah. What did you think of this one?
I thought this one was pretty good.
I did too. I have notes.
This was really good.
It was a blast. There's no denying that. I do want to talk about, so I have a spicy take, Tom. It's actually not that spicy because I checked the internet, and I think the internet knows this, but they don't know why. My spicy take on this is a very good movie that's terribly structured.
Yes.
It is, I would argue, fundamentally speaking, and it's hard to frame it this way because it's a good movie. I think it didn't have a good script. And it's hard to separate those two things.
It really, I agree. It feels like, and I obviously can't say for certain until we get to see the final one next year, but it feels like this was one movie that they split into two.
Yeah, I did a little research, and that was in fact what happened, or rather, they announced later in the game that they were splitting two. There's some interesting things about this. One, it's Phil Lord, but his partner didn't make the first one. Miller? Yeah. And so this is actually kind of a new writing team, a little bit. Phil Lord is the connecting tissue. I don't know if that had anything to do with it, honestly, but I actually took a stopwatch to this film. And so what I was noticing on the internet is, a lot of people saying this feels incomplete, right?
Yeah, because it does.
It does. And so the question, of course, is why does this feel incomplete, but for example, Infinity's Wars doesn't? Or Back to the Future 2 doesn't?
I would
why
say...
does other part ones not feel incomplete? And I have an answer, but I want to hear,
My answer is because it's not clear what all of this is building to until about the last 25 minutes.
That's part of it. So I definitely want to talk about
we don't
structure.
know what the conflict is until the last 25 minutes.
Yeah, here's what I'll say. The inciting. So what is this? What is this about? This is about Miles Morales learning that there's a council of Ricks,
The Council of
basically,
Ricks
for
for the Spider-Man, yeah.
It's about him learning about this multiverse cops who want to trap him because his dad is fated to die because it's canon. They're directly tackling the idea that Spider-Man, and I do want to talk about this too, that Spider-Man is like a set of tropes that exists in every goddamn version. And this is a film about Miles Morales fighting against that, right? Is that a fair description of what this film is about?
Yes.
Okay. So a movie like that, the inciting incident of that movie, and what I mean by that is that's the thing that happens out of Act 1. So like when you watch a TV show before the first ad break, you want to know what the episode's about, right? Similarly, in the first fourth of a movie, you want to generally know what the movie is about. That doesn't happen here. 32 minutes into the movie, which is the first act, which is 1/4, he's still fighting the Dot guy. He only actually goes into the multiverse over an hour in, 65 minutes in. That should have been the inciting incident. If that is in fact what the plot's about, you would have Spider-Man get into the multiverse pretty quickly. You know, you'd know what that's about, but you don't really even meet this multiverse council until over an hour in. So that to me is a problem. Because Act 3, when he starts getting chased by all of them, that should really be the halfway point of a movie like this. Because the halfway point of a movie is traditionally when the hero has bitten off more than they can chew and there's no going back. That would be that moment, right? Mm-hmm. And so what it feels like to me is that they wrote this originally as one movie, and then they were writing the screenplay and they couldn't fucking fit it all. So they just said, okay, let's just stop it here. But they didn't change the structure to accommodate two movies. So my feeling of this movie was actually the first 30 minutes or the first hour felt like it was spinning its wheels for that reason. Because I was like, what is this about? Like, when is the thing going to happen that this movie is about? Mm-hmm. And I do think it suffered for that. I really do. Obviously, it'll do fine. People are loving this movie. It's a good movie. But I do think structurally that's kind of a problem with it.
Yeah, no, it really is. I think the reason that the movie begins with like a 10-minute prologue with Gwen that establishes the existence of the Council of Ricks, I feel like that was added in order to excuse the fact that we don't get to that plot point. Because that's like a quick way to let us know, okay, here's what the movie's going to be about. Okay, now we can get started so that we don't actually get that reveal until way, way, way late in the game. So,
right,
yeah,
that kind of draws it out a little more.
It does. I was still enjoying it. Like, on a scene-to-scene basis, this movie is a blast. Like, every scene is great. I wouldn't want to cut.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, it's so great, and I wouldn't want to cut any of it out. But like, it is a problem that I have no idea what the conflict is until the movie's almost over. Right,
and so I want to give another example of why it feels incomplete. Because so the question, why does this feel incomplete? And again, I'm not just I've noticed just the internet. People are saying this is a great movie. Why does I feel like kind of like. Why does it feel incomplete? Why do I feel...
Because it is. It's literally incomplete. Yeah. It ends in to be continued. But yes, there's more to it than that, of course.
There's more to it. Because, for example, Infinity War, we get arcs. We get, for example, Thanos has an arc in Infinity War, right? Mm-hmm. He does the thing. Hulk has an arc. He can't turn. And then by the end, he uses the armor. Characters have arcs within movies, even if those movies are part 1 and part 2.
Right.
I would argue they don't do arcs in this. And that's a big problem because Miles, his arc that they set up is he wants to tell his parents, right?
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. He should have done that at the end, but they actually deny us that specifically by showing it's this alternate world. And it does feel like a movie that it cuts us off in the third act. Like, that's what it feels like, is the to be continued is actually where the third act would start in any other movie. Mm-hmm. And that's what bothers me, where it felt like they don't give him an arc. It really feels like they cut it way late in the game. Like they didn't do the work to make it two pieces. They just drew a line in the most dramatic point they could in the script, because like there should be an arc there. Miles decides he's not going to let his fate be inevitable. He makes that decision, which you could argue is a third act, like an arc, except that's not set up in any way. Like that's not the thing that we're waiting for him to do, right? We're waiting for him to
tell his parents.
Yeah. So honestly, I wish they had figured out a way to have him do that, to give him an arc. You could still make it a part 1 and part 2. And that's the same with most part 1 and part 2 stories, right? All the Lord of the Rings, they have an arc within the movies, even though it's a continuing story. That's just how these tend to happen. And this movie is missing that. And so I think I just wanted to shout out for anybody who like felt like they were missing something, like it felt incomplete. I think these are the reasons why, despite it being an extremely good movie. Can't stress that enough.
Yeah,
that really stuck out to me.
And that makes me a little bit worried for the next one, because invariably when that happens, it kind of just makes each movie kind of lesser than what they should have been, you know? Because neither one of them really stands alone as a... Do you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, no, I think this... I know people are complaining about this too, but if this was like a 3-hour film that was complete... I would maybe, because my fear is like greed, that they wanted to stretch it out, you know, because this idea, like in the interviews where they're like, there's so much story, we just couldn't fit it in. My feeling of that is like, I don't think that's true. I think they spun their wheels a lot for the first 30 minutes. I really do. They spent like 20 minutes introducing the characters, doing these like flashbacks. I don't see why they couldn't have cut that down. I don't see why the reveal that happens at the end of this couldn't have happened at the third act. It really feels like
it could have.
They stretched it.
And especially since the third movie's coming so soon, it comes out next March, like it does feel like this is just, they realized the movie's too long. So
yeah, it's given me Hobbit vibes.
I was just about to say that, the reason all three Hobbit, well, this is not the only reason, but like the reason no single Hobbit movie is like a satisfying experience on its own is because they do that dumb cliffhanger thing arbitrarily, so that there's no... When the story is finally complete by the end of the third movie, you don't have that satisfying feeling of having reached the end of a good story because it began 2 movies ago. Like the arc of this movie began 2 movies ago. So it's like, it just... Yeah. So
if you're gonna plan multiple stories, you have to go back to the structure. You just have to. It's otherwise you will get that feeling where movies like this. And The Hobbit famously, they split it up after the fact, right?
It was originally going to be 2, and then they made it 3, and it's like none of the movies end in a logical place, and it's just
or in a satisfying way.
It's all so it makes each movie ultimately unsatisfying. It just in a pure storytelling experience, because it's just constantly building, and then the third movie ends it but doesn't have the build, so it's like not the feeling you're supposed to experience when you're
The difference, I would argue, between the Hobbit movie and this movie is gorgeous and a
good,
shitload of fun.
Good,
and
has like good emotional scenes in it.
Right, the Hobbit movie was also not fun scene by scene.
It's a scene to scene basis. It's not good. Yeah. Yes, that's why I had the little caveat at the beginning where I said this is not the only issue with the Hobbit.
Right, that's why. And so what I'm actually talking about is like, if you were handed this script and you didn't know what the first movie looked like, you didn't know who Spider-Man was. And I know that's a weird thing to say, but what I'm talking about is just by looking at the script at a structural screenwriting standpoint, you would look at it and go, you need to do this again. And I honestly think more movies need to keep that in mind. Like I think it's leaning on the fact that it's built off of this other gorgeous thing that has a big fandom, so they feel like they can do whatever they want. I just don't agree with that. I think that this movie hurts because of that, but this is like still an amazing movie. In my mind, I'm just like, oh, you could have gotten it from like, 95% amazing to 100% amazing if you just thought about this a little harder. Because that does make me nervous a little bit because it's such a foundational thing. But I want to talk about what makes this movie fucking great because there's more good than bad here, right?
There for sure is. The only
fucking
other
amazing.
Yeah, it's great. The only other negative thing I could say about it is the cameos got a little exhausting.
Yeah,
I didn't need the introduction of the live action movies into this.
I didn't laugh much in this movie. I laughed at the more human dialogue parts. The audience fucking loved it, so it's like, what are you gonna do? You know what I mean? Where it's like, I also thought there was a little too much of like jingling keys to make everybody laugh and clap. Where it's like, oh, they did the thing. They did the meme. There was a bit of that. A bit more than I would have wanted, but everybody fucking loved it. So I don't know.
Sure.
I have some other like issues, but I feel like the other issues I have are more personal. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Where it's like, this is overall, this is a movie that needs to set an example that more movies need to do, in my opinion. Like, I want more movies like this. And when I say like this, I mean that think really creatively, specifically about the superhero genre.
Yeah, the pure imagination behind this. It's so... Comparing this movie to Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, where like the wildest thing they could come up with in Multiverse of Madness was like, here, the stoplight, red means go. How like really weak and underwhelming the multiverse stuff was in Doctor Strange, and then you get to like stuff like Everything Everywhere All at Once, or like this, where it's really coming from the fact that the movie is animated too. So a lot of the imagination comes from, it's not just like, oh, here's a universe where everybody has hot dogs for fingers. It's like, let's try different art styles and different ways to present animation. The Lego stuff, I popped real hard for the Lego show. I was like, shit, it's Lego Spider-Man.
It's like mixed medium art.
Yes, the mixed media
that's what
stuff.
Makes it so good.
Yeah, man.
It's gorgeous, and it even like, it's kind of mind fucking at times, where at times like I'm just like, man, it's taking me a minute to register what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
In a good way. It's overwhelming in a way that never feels confusing because there's like a flow to it. So you always kind of feel like the action sequences are really, you said everywhere all at once, or everything everywhere all at once. It's got that where it understands that we're a generation that's a little more fast paced in our brains, and we can like follow things and we can like do quick shorthands in our minds. So like watching like the battle sequences where it's like two different art styles fighting each other and these like comic book splits, and like it doesn't, you like my brain doesn't always register what's happening in the fight, but I know who's winning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's like it knows how to like walk that line really beautifully. And it's one of those where it's like, I'm sure a lot of it's done in a computer, and it's like, I don't care. It feels like artists made this. It feels like it was made with care and with love, because it was, right?
Yeah.
It's not like it's not like what we talked about, how there's going to be millions of other animated cartoons that'll imitate this. And they'll just be doing it to do it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because one of the things about this is it's a multiverse story, and that it justifies the art form, like the artwork, right?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of other animated things are going to just like slap this on their story. Like we did it too. And it's like, yeah, but it doesn't fit your story. Like this is earning its style through the story as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is really cool.
Yeah, it's not just thinking of what different art styles we can do. It's like, how can we... Okay, so how does this look on the page when we integrate it into the story? And that's a separate set of creative muscles that get flexed in this movie. And it's... Man, this movie is so cool. It's just so genuinely just, artful. And we already said imaginative and creative. But, like, man, you really can't hit that hard enough. Like, this is such just a spark in the middle of all the really creatively bankrupt blockbusters that we're getting a lot of the time currently.
We talked about this with James Gunn, and I want to repeat this because James Gunn is another person who gets it, in my opinion, is that it is wild to me, that the genre of superheroes can be done so boringly.
Mm-hmm.
And Marvel has done good, but I'm amazed when they do bad, because you look at back in like Batman, Tim Burton doing Batman, no fucking shit. Such a no-brainer. Because what they knew to do there is take a visually stunning director who has a very specific art style and give it to a story that would benefit that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that set a standard, I thought, for how superhero films should go, that they like kind of ignored largely. And so like when I talk about James Gunn, he understands that superheroes they're weird. You can do weird artistic weird shit. You can tell very like human stories that are both really emotional and really outlandish because of the nature of what a superhero is. It's a human being. Usually it's an emotional being, at least, that has surreal abilities, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so like it's so weird to me that there's only a handful of superhero films that are truly weird when they all should be weird. Like
right.
it's weird. Like that's it's. I also have to say that Zack Snyder had an idea around that with the Justice League, at least the Snyder
cut, yeah,
is that when you watch that, you're like, oh, okay, he's trying to tell a story like they're gods,
mm-hmm.
and like it's like a fucking epic, and at least that's like putting it into the perspective that you should put it, or thinking about it a little harder, as opposed to movies that are very fucking boilerplate that we get as well.
Yeah,
it's just wild to me that they wouldn't think that way all the time. That these should be the most bizarre experimental films all the time, in my opinion.
I think at least a lot of the time. So it's so cool when something like this comes along. Man, I love this story.
Yeah,
I love these characters. I love this story. I love the way the movies look. Man, I don't really know. Like, this movie really nails the emotional. Even though there's not like completely realized arcs for any of the characters, like the scene to scene stuff is really good, and the performances are so good, and so like the emotion is still there. Like you get a lot out of a lot of scenes, like the scene where
really good talent,
where Miles's mother ungrounds him. That like I got a little choked up during that scene.
Oh yeah,
like there's so much good stuff here.
I do want to talk about something they're fighting against, and they do nod to it. It's part of the plot. I think that had this been fit into one film, it would have been more evident. But I had trouble with this, which is, I said on Hypecast, I never get sick of Spider-Man, and that's true. But I was feeling a little bit of fatigue here because I realized something about Spider-Man, and because they're pointing it out, is that there's only like 6 character stories with Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and we've talked about it before, where it's like they seem to not want Peter Parker to leave high school. They always have one of their caregivers dying, right? It's Uncle Ben, or it's Miles' dad. There's always a close friend who turns evil, the Prowler or Doc Ock. There's always a love interest that it's a will they, won't they. Denied the love interest, Mary Jane, or in this case, Miles and Gwen. They're always struggling with the idea that they can't balance being Spider-Man and life. They're always late. There's always an arc where someone's talking about how they're late to something. And in the end, they have to choose between saving one and saving many, which is a big Batman Begins, not Batman Begins, although they probably did that too. I was thinking Batman Forever. Like, they've been doing this for a long time, right? Who do you choose? You got to split between your life. And I guess I really felt that this time, because they were going through so many Spider-Men and pointing out that they all have the same fucking things. And it kind of wore me down a little bit, where I was like, man, I kind of wish I got more like a different Spider-Man story for once, because it does feel like we've been in that stasis for a while. Did you get any of that?
A little bit, but I appreciated that what they're building towards is Miles breaking that loop.
Breaking it, yes.
But I also appreciated that Peter, when he's talking to Miles at one point, he tells him, like, look, bad stuff is going to happen. You know, like you really can't save everybody in your life, because that's how life is. Like, as you move forward through it, bad things are going to happen. You are going to lose people. But then he's like, but then you were also going to have, there's also going to be good things that happen to you. And it's about the balance, and it's about, you know, the how you absorb that, and how it, like he says, the bad stuff that happens like makes you a better person. So it's like, I appreciated that the movie was both setting that up, that idea that, like, yeah, Spider-Man's kind of trapped in this trope loop, and like Miguel, who is the de facto villain, essentially, Spider-Man 2099, is like, he's convinced that if you break the loop, it is guaranteed that something bad's going to happen. You have to maintain the loop, or else all reality is going to disintegrate.
Right.
But Miles is coming from the point of view, it's like, no, you don't know that. But so I appreciate that they're setting that up, that it's like, you don't have to conform to this idea of like, well, I need to go through this sort of trauma or tragedy, or this thing always needs to happen in order for me to be who I'm supposed to be. But that also that they tempered it with what Peter is saying it to him, where it's like kind of the more realistic thing, where it's like, hey man, sometimes people die, like, then there's nothing you can do about it.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the thing. And I would say all the Spider-Man movies kind of touch on that. Mm-hmm. This is definitely the most polished version of that.
Yeah.
And that's why this is like so fucking good, because it's taking the stuff we all kind of know with Spider-Man, mm-hmm. And really like doing a really fucking good version of it. I guess what it is I felt it because, like you said, the movie is addressing it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't sort of address the monotony of that, because that's how I feel, where I'm like when it's like him and Spider-Gwen almost holding hands, I'm like, come on. Like that sort of shit, it's just like, I've seen it so many fucking times. And so there's kind of like a bit of emotional distance I have from it now, where I just feel less invested because I've seen it so much, which again is the point too. So it's hard to balance that. But that's sort of a personal thing. You know, I can see that not bothering other people as much as it kind of wore me down.
Yeah.
And they do good twists on it, or they do variations of it, but it's all still, you know, like that's the thing, is when we talk about the beginning where they introduce Gwen and Miles in these sequences, and it's all kind of the same, because that's the point, where it's like, oh, she has this father who's a cop who doesn't know her identity. Oh, Miles has this father who's a cop who doesn't know his identity. And it's just like, it feels repetitive because it's supposed to be, but it still feels repetitive. Yeah. Does that make sense?
No, it does.
And so like I wish they had made that actually louder. If they had pointed out like, yeah, we're all the fucking same, because that is ultimately what he's fighting, as well, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's sort of it's tough to, from a writing perspective, how do you deal with that? Because I think they should have actually leaned into it a little more instead of
it's there.
What they did.
Miles' rejection of it is that, but like right. it's not as overt. Like it's not as meta, I guess. It's not as like directly addressing the writing of it.
Right, because at this point it feels like it has to be a little meta, only because we've had so many Spider-Man
meta
movies.
By design, it's a multiverse.
Yeah, and also, but it's just how many Spider-Man movies have had this plot? You know, that's what I appreciated about what they were doing with the Marvel Spider-Man with the new ones, because it felt kind of new. Like they changed enough around that it actually felt like I was watching like kind of a new continuation of Peter Parker's story.
Well, yeah, they knew not to show us Uncle Ben again, but like I think you always kind of, that's like the fundamental element of Spider-Man, is that Spider-Man is a person who always does the unselfish thing.
Right.
And it frequently comes at great personal cost, but is undaunting in their dedication to doing the right thing. So I think it's just, I both recognize that it's repetitive because it but like also it's like so much part of the character's DNA, regardless of which version of Spider-Man you're talking about. Like the whole point is that Spider-Man is so selfish that he always ends up blowing up his or her, the Spider-Man's own life because of it.
Yeah, it's a tricky thing to like to write around. And again, in the end, everybody fucking loved this movie. This movie's doing great. It's got good reviews. So I don't know if they, it seems like they did the right thing ultimately.
Yeah. I do.
And it's a gorgeous movie. For me, I guess what it is with these movies is that the visuals of these movies, and I would say this happens across the board. It's so good that like, I guess what it is without those visuals, if I was just reading the script, I don't think I would be as impressed with this movie nearly as much. Like the visuals really fucking boost this film for me.
Of course.
I think is what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously, I guess is the case there. Mm-hmm. I just think that the actual story that they're telling is pretty good, but it's boosted by a lot of amazing performances and artwork. Ultimately,
of course, yeah, it's a very simple story. At the end of the day, it's even though there's thousands of Spider-Man on screen at one point. It's still a pretty straightforward story. It's just that the characters are so well realized.
Yeah,
like
I want to talk about
every single one of them. Is. Yeah. And I really liked the escalation of the Spot.
I was literally about to say I want to talk about the Spot.
Jason Schwartzman.
Spot's fantastic.
He's great.
Very fucking smart. Because I would say this is smart writing because they took a character that you just assume is the villain of the week.
Is a fool.
Is the whole point. Is a fool. And they keep him a fool. That's the thing. He's never not a fool, but he becomes a threat. And I really liked that idea and that message of like, a fool doesn't never write off a fool. Because they can fucking become a problem.
It reminded me of Gaston.
Yes, Gaston is a great
it's like the exact thing where it starts out like, he's very, very funny in his first scene where he's like, will you just let me rob you? Where he's trying to steal the ATM machine. But it escalates and it gets to the point where it's like he's walking into the collider to, unmake reality so he can get more power to use his like... He's a villain. I mean, God, you should watch the movie before you listen to this. So I don't need to explain who Spot is.
Yeah,
but if you didn't, he's a villain who has he's just white with these spots all over him. He has interdimensional spots, basically teleporter spots he can throw and then travel through them on his body. So he's using this collider to make more of them, and it's escalated so much to that point where like Miles is saying, "I'm sorry, I called you a bad villain. You're a great villain. Please stop this." Like that's how much it's escalated.
It's perfect.
It's such good storytelling. Yeah.
Because again, it's sort of like showing how like ignorance can lead to truly evil acts. Because that's what it is. He's a dumb shit played by Jason Schwartzman, which is a good choice.
Yeah, he's great.
And he's never doing it like it feels like it's escalating in this perfectly stupid way. And I really like that. It's kind of the same with the actual villain, which is evil Spider-Man there. What's
Miguel
his
O'Hara. It's Spider-Man 2099.
Okay. Is that was that Oscar Isaac?
It was.
Okay, good. they also kind of show like it's kind of I think this is in most Spider-Men, but I think they vary in quality, which is like the villain is never starts as the bad guy, right? Usually they
sometimes
they try to show a humanizing like arc, for better for worse. Sometimes they don't do it well, sometimes they do. And I liked how they did him because it was the idea of like he's fighting for the reality of everything. Of
right. He's not. We don't know that he's wrong.
Right.
We don't know that Miles is right.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's this idea of like his calling is a much bigger calling where in a different movie, Miles would 100% be the villain. What makes him different from the Spot, really? Where he's fucking with the fabric of reality for personal reasons.
Yep,
yeah. And so like that's I don't know, that's a really cool dynamic.
It is, yeah.
Where like for all we know, Miles is not doing the right thing, you know?
Yeah.
It's very Back to the Future, to the point that they also have the dark timeline, which I loved. Holy shit.
That was a great reveal.
Yeah.
That genuinely surprised me.
Yeah. I shout out to the directors, which there are 3 of. I don't know how, like, I don't know enough about animation to know how these decisions get made, but like the editing and the fucking music and the reveal and the cinematography of those sequences where he goes into this hell universe where Spider-Man never existed, and finds out that he is the Prowler in that universe, all that stuff, the delivery of those moments, the weight of them was so fucking felt. It's so good.
And it was again to call out the performance of Shameik Moore, who plays Miles.
Right.
We've heard him be Miles the entire movie, like, you know, the bubbly, funny, cool kid that we like love so much. And then we hear him deliver like 2 lines, or just a handful of lines as dark reality version of himself, and the difference in the performance, because we've heard him be this other lovable character that we like so much the rest of the movie. It's like genuinely a gut punch. You're like, oh no.
So I think it's a different actor. I'm looking at this. Yeah. There's a different person credited.
Oh shoot. Well, sorry. I was given the wrong person credit.
That's all right. I mean, that's still, he sounds very similar.
Well, shoot, I feel embarrassed about that. I just assumed it would be the same actor.
Right. Why wouldn't it be?
Why wouldn't it be?
I guess they're doing that. I'm looking at this, and there's like Jack Quaid plays Gwen's Peter Parker, rather, because he doesn't become Spider-Man. So they did do like different voice actors. I will say, I had this critique for the other multiverse stuff, and I just have to shout it out here. None of it makes sense. Why is the multiverse different times? Like why is like Peter Parker different ages? Why is it feels like they're like the timelines are like the multiverse is also like different, you know what I mean? Like it's a different year in different multiverses, as it feels like.
Yeah.
It's all nonsense. The difference is that who gives a shit? Kind of like Everything Everywhere All at Once, where I'm like, that's not the point. That's not the thing to focus on. Because it's all to serve this amazingly beautiful film ultimately. Yeah. So it doesn't really matter. It matters more, I would say, in some of the other ones that are more boring and make me think about it more. Like Doctor Strange, that made me think about the multiverse more and made me go, this is dumb. Does that make sense? Where this one, it's just like, it doesn't matter. It's you go in this glowing anus and it brings you to the multiverse, and there's this fucking Eon Flux spider.
I mean, you can pull from...
I want to, by the way,
I guess you could just pull from different timelines too. You would just kind of do whenever, because like, I don't know. But I get what you're talking about.
Yeah, my point being that it's always nonsense. It's just that this movie, it feels less nonsense because it's all... I want to talk about the Eon Flux spider and the fact that they embrace some of my favorite types of art styles, which is like the surrealist, brutalist, weird shit, where it's like I keep saying Eon Flux because in Eon Flux you get this technology where you're like, this doesn't make sense. Why would it be like this? And the answer is because it's pretty or because it's weird. And this does that too, right? Like, what are they even on when they're being chased up into the sky on that sky train? Like, what even is that? Does it matter?
I think you just described it. It's a sky train.
Yeah, I guess where is it going? I don't know,
man. It's a future world. We don't understand what's happening there.
Yeah, but that's what I like about it.
Yeah.
You know, is like, why do they have a weird spider doing a web to bring? Like, it doesn't matter. It's fucking cool. It's clear they pulled from like anime and like, you know, a lot of different styles to embrace this like surreal aesthetic throughout that I really fucking appreciated, specifically about that one, like, you know, Council of Spider-Man universe.
Yeah.
And that was really cool.
I really love the music in these movies, and not just the score, but I also love like the pop songs that they decide to bring in. It all just is so seamless and it fits each scene so well. But the thing I wanted to call out is, and again, it's in the previous movie too, that the villains have a theme. And that's not uncommon, but it's just really quick. It's like two bars, I think, or two. I don't remember music theory. 2 measures, maybe. Anyway,
I don't know.
But like, you know, Prowler had one that would play sort of like the shark's theme in Jaws every time he showed up in the previous movie, and it plays in this one too. But I like Spider-Man 2099's, so they sort of. And it plays the first time he shows up, so it's like the music cueing you in that he's going to be the bad guy.
Right.
Is he has his own theme song. Nobody else does. And the only other character that did in the previous film was the bad guy.
Right. That was one of those things where it was like, I think it's just because we've watched enough movies where you see him and you're like, that's the bad guy.
Well,
There's the bad guy.
They give it away in the trailer too.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But yeah.
I didn't watch any of that. The only thing that I saw coming that bummed me out was the fact that I realized it was part 1 when we hit the third act and it wasn't a third act.
No.
And I was like, fuck, they're not completing this. And that bummed me out to know, like early. And I've seen other people say that as well, where it's like, you know, if you know structure at all and you're hitting the 2-hour mark and certain things haven't happened, you're like, okay, well, either this is going to really suck or this is a part 1. Because there's no way they can wrap it up.
It's annoying that it's like, it's not even an end point. Like, it ends literally in the middle of a scene.
Right.
Like, it ends with Miles beginning to electrically charge up the chain, and it's like, to be continued. It's like, all right.
Right, and that's the thing is, I don't think all movies need to follow this specific idea, but this is a superhero movie, right? And the big thing that'll give it away is it doesn't end on an action sequence. It does an action sequence on that train, which doesn't feel like a big set piece, right? That didn't feel, and then there's like another like 30 minutes, and it's just sort of talking and like exposition. And to me, that definitely felt like it traditionally in a screenplay, that would be what's leading into the third act. And that's the thing. It's like, so action also kind of has a rhythm to it, action movies. And like that train sequence, that is a midpoint sequence. That is an action sequence that's not that big, but a lot happens. There's the point of no return leading into Miles finding something dark about himself, right?
Or about what he thought about the people around him, or
Right. And that brings us into a third act where it's like shit gets real. The real darkness sets in, and then literally as he's charging up, like you said, that's when we tend to get into the final climax that completes the film. And so it's not that it feels like part 1 of 2. It feels like 75% of something.
Mm-hmm.
Where there's only 25% left.
Exactly.
And that's
what makes me worried for the third movie.
Right, because it's like, oh no, are they going to take that 25% and stretch it?
Yep.
And that's a bummer to me.
Hopefully
because that is the big critique, and it might be bigger than people realize, because it does feel like they gave us 3/4 of a movie here.
Yeah. Exactly.
And that's not good writing. That's just not. So that's that. I don't know. I really feel like that's a problem. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if they're able to pull it off. I just don't know what the fuck. Like, it feels like there's going to be so much wheel spinning, like in the next part. Like, for example, are they going to do the thing like for 20 minutes, tell us what Prowler Miles Morales' life was? Because I don't need that.
They
you know what I mean? Like,
will.
Yeah, they'll probably be like, so my name is Miles, and they'll do the sequence, but it's evil. And it's like shit like that where it's like, after that's the shit that starts getting repetitive and wheel spinny to me, which is like, you don't have to spend 20 minutes explaining a character, especially not Spider-Man. And that's the thing I felt in this one more than any is they're vamping, they're stretching because they are trying to fit a one movie story into two. So Lord knows what kind of fucking, literally Lord knows what kind of stretching they're going to do for the sequel. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, hopefully.
Hopefully they'll pull it off. I just, they did not stick the landing. They really didn't, in my opinion.
No, I agree. I think the ending was bad. I think that was a bad decision.
Yeah. But it's a fucking amazing movie otherwise. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked it.
Yeah, it's like having a fucking amazing meal and complaining about like one item that didn't taste quite right. You know what I mean?
Well, no, it's like having an amazing meal and they take it away from you before you're finished. That's what it's like.
Actually, yeah, you're right. That is what it's like.
That's what it's like.
You're right. That's why it's frustrating, is because it really does. They really did not finish it.
That's all it is. Is that they're just arbitrarily said to be continued in the middle of a story.
Right, but again, not even in the middle.
No, it's like when a movie would traditionally have about 20 minutes left.
Yeah, like I think the comparison is like, if they did Infinity Wars and Endgame and they split it when the final battle at the Avengers base is about to happen, right? Or like right when Thanos like shoots them all, blows up the base, and they're like to be continued. That's what it feels like to me. And I don't know, make it 3 hours. Because I really don't like feel like there's any more than like a half hour left of this story. Like he's gonna fight Prowler, he's gonna save his dad or not. Like what more is there to tell of this story?
I don't know.
I really don't know. It's not like, oh, Doc Brown, he's back in the West. That's a whole other movie. It's not like that. It's like, okay, there's third act. Here we go, and then it ended. Very strange choice.
Yep.
I'm pretty angry at it, to be honest.
I don't know. Maybe they'll do something. Maybe the next movie this conflict will resolve relatively quickly, and then the consequence of whatever it is that Miles does, and then that becomes the third movie.
If they do that, that's what The Hobbit did. Remember?
That's true.
Dragon gets out. They're like, oh no. And then 15 minutes of the first movie, they're like, that's not a problem. No, if they do that, that's going to ruin it, because then it's like, why did you do that? Why didn't you wrap up the first story?
Exactly.
And then deal with the consequences in the second. So yeah, there better be a good fucking reason why there's 2 more hours of story to this, because it really feels like there isn't. I don't know, man. I just don't know.
without ending this story and starting a completely different one. That's true.
Right. My fear is that it's going to be like, oh, and the Spot did this now, and now we have to deal with this. Like, to me, this felt like a TV show or something. Like, this feels like, like a video game or TV show where it's like they keep having adventures that connect. And if that's the case, guess what? Make a TV show. But you're telling a movie story. So, finish the story in 2 hours, because I can't stress it enough. Other movies that have to be continued still finish the story within that movie.
Right.
Or at least they finish a large chunk of that story, rather.
Right.
They find ways to complete arcs within it, is the point.
Yeah.
Whereas this, not that. So, I don't know, that's a problem.
Yeah. But again, overall, really liked the movie.
Yeah, overall, really liked it. Very good movie. Go watch it.
Yeah.
Even if you're not into superhero movies, honestly, if you're into art, you should watch this movie.
Yeah, man. That 1602 Vulture, man, I lost my mind when he showed up.
Yeah, it was amazing.
That was so cool.
It was really cool. A lot of fun stuff. And I get what you're saying about the live action, or rather about the cameos, but I do like that there was live action in it. I like that we get fucking Donald Glover, Prowler.
Yeah,
I also love how he's performing it. Because he did this in the other Spider-Man as well, as like generally indifferent. Like he feels like he doesn't want to be in the movie. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But I don't think that's what the case is. I think that's a character choice he's doing that's very fun.
Yeah.
Where it's like he's always kind of underwhelmed in the scenes he's in.
Yeah.
And that's very funny to me. So it's like, I liked the idea of live action stuff. And if they are going to make a live action Miles Morales, they should keep to that universe and have.
I think that's maybe what they're introducing here is that idea.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, that's how they included
and that's great.
It's that these characters can cross over, and that would be cool. I'd be fine with that.
That would be cool. Again, it's weird. I simultaneously felt a little fatigue and still want like 10 more Spider-Man movies. So it's like I'm my own worst enemy here. I have no one to blame but myself.
It's true.
Yeah. Also, Daniel Kaluuya as
Spider-Punk.
Spider-Punk.
Really fun.
Yeah, I loved Spider-Punk.
Yeah, Spider-Punk was pretty fun.
Because they make him do the punk thing. He quits.
Yeah.
he says, "Fuck this, man. This is too much work."
He's the only one gassing Miles up too. I loved it.
Right.
Where he's like, "Yeah, fuck him, don't do it." When Miles is like, "What? You can't." When Miles finally starts to pull back, and you hear Spider-Punk go like, "There it is."
Yeah, because he's just being a snotty contrarian punk. Yeah. Like that's the beauty of it. Is like he's not standing for anything. No. He's just like, yeah, fuck the system, man. Yeah, you're right. Why aren't I doing this? This guy's being more punk than me.
Yep.
Oh, it's very funny.
Yeah, he was really fun. And Andy Samberg as Ben Reilly was really fun too.
Oh yeah. J.K. Simmons is in it for a second.
He's in it a couple of times, but I love that in every single universe, J.K. Simmons is J. Jonah Jameson.
I really appreciate that. Because
so fun.
I think what it is, it's kind of like,
he's just too perfect.
Right. It's kind of like I remember. Before there were X-Men movies, there were like magazines would do who do you cast as X-Men, and Patrick Stewart would win every time as Professor X. And so sometimes there's just one right answer. You know what I mean? Where it's like I don't know. Yeah, James McAvoy, he was fine, but there's kind of only one.
Yeah, it was
like the same.
It was like the Tim Burton Batman, where it was like, it was Jack Nicholson. Of course, he's the Joker.
Right, and it's sort of the same here, where it's like. Yeah, who the fuck else?
Who else are you gonna get? Yeah,
yeah. It doesn't matter if it makes sense or not. You get him for that, and he does it.
Yeah.
And he does it.
Yeah, he's too perfect.
Yeah. I really appreciate that. Were there any? I'm trying to think if there was any other like voices to shout out. I mean, everybody was good.
Issa Rae is Jessica Drew.
Oh shit! Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that was cool. I liked that character.
Yeah. Good job. Good job, Spider-Man
all around
movie.
Good stuff.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything else to say about this.
I have nothing else left to say.
Yeah, fun movie.
Yeah.
Very fun. Can't wait to see it again. Makes me want to watch the first one. Makes me want to do some drugs and watch them. Do a bunch of drugs.
That's a great idea, Dave.
Zone the fuck out.
Man, yeah. Well, let's. Why don't you go ahead and tell them some stuff so we can get started doing that.
All right, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed, GAMEFULLY, unemployed. You go on there for $5 a month, you get access to a bunch of exclusive podcasts like Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, Fox Mulder is a Maniac, Star Trek The Next Futurama, and Spiel Boys. We also watch movies with our patrons every Friday night. Sometimes we'll watch TV shows starring Jesse Ventura and Roddy Piper. Sometimes we'll do that. Not always. Sometimes we'll watch American Gladiators.
Yeah.
Not always. The point being that our Patreon has a lot of stuff. We have custom podcasts as well, custom We Just Watch. So check that out, will ya?
Yes. We also have a store. Head over to gamefullyunemployed.com where you'll find a link to our Teespring store. We have all kinds of cool original artwork and designs you can get on t-shirts, mugs, stickers, posters, all sorts of things. So slap your little web-slinging peepers onto that.
Yeah, your spider eyes.
Your spider eyes. Your hideous spider eyes.
They didn't fuck with, at least there was not one like hideous spider in that universe. And honestly, I mean, it's like that Onion article. Like, there should be a lot more Spider-Men that are just like horrifically mutated. Yeah, they're just Jeff Goldblum in The Fly.
Yeah.
Are just like puddles of blood. I want Puddle of Blood Spider-Man. It's just a puddle that screams.
What about Puddle of Mud Spider-Man, where he just screams Puddle of Mud songs?
Either way, it'll stop villains in their tracks.
It's true.
Villains will see that and they'll be like, "I want to change my life."
Yep, I'm returning these purses.
Yep, this is not good. Too much.
Here you go, my good sir. You may have your wallet back.
Yep. I'm just going to go to jail.
I'm going to walk myself to prison.
I feel safer there, to be honest.
Yes. Lock these doors, please.
You know what's not in jail? A Puddle of Mud Spider-Man.
That's true.
That's what's
true.
on jail,
But
yeah.
he could be. He can leak right through those bars. You're never safe from Puddle of Mud Spider-Man.